Well, anytime you start doing an engine swap, you got to figure a few things aren't going to fit. In the case of putting a 408 in my 95 Mustang, like how hard could it be? The factory did it 250 times with the Cobra R. Well, my trick flow manifold was definitely a little bit taller than the stock Cobra R. Of course, this meant I need to have a taller hood. So here we go, reviewing my installation of a Harwood hood on a 95 series Mustang. First things I'm going to look at are the things I really like about this hood. And yes, it does have a lot of positives. Then we're going to take a look at some of the things I think Harwood could have done a little bit better. No doubt about one thing, this hood's very well made. It doesn't blow around at all like most other fiberglass hoods do. As you can clearly see here, the fit of the hood is every bit as good as a stock hood. Both the sides and the back of the hood made up nicely with the stock finishes. The rear of the hood seals up very nicely with the existing rubber seal. All in all, I'd give it an A+ as far as the external finish of the hood, the way it fits up with the stock fenders and everything else. To me, it couldn't be much better than what they've done here. I'm very pleased with the final appearance of the hood once it's fully installed. The instructions clearly state that you've got to trim the hood to fit. In the case of this hood, practically all the trimming is done back in the rear area next to the hinges. The front only required some very, very minor trimming. I'll take Harwood's version of this, as they state that primarily this is due to make sure the hood ships without any cracks. The 3/4 inch lip running virtually all the way around the hood as it ships does make for a very, very sturdy product. Now in the back, as you can clearly see here, to make the hood open smoothly, you virtually have to remove all of that 3/4 inch lip in several places. Getting this to fit right is basically a Dremel tool with an 1/8 inch carbide bit on the end of it, and then lots of patience. It's going to take you about a half a day to trim this one up and make it fit right so the hood will open up without any troubles. Here's one that didn't really shock me. When you open up the hood, it's going to hit the windshield wipers, and basically you need to take the driver's side windshield wiper and move it up vertically so you'll have a little bit more hood clearance. You also get to modify the prop rod. Now you really got one or two choices about the prop rod. You can modify it by shortening it, or you can cut the tip off just like I've done here. Then when you cut the tip off, it goes very nicely back into the latch hole. Now we come to the two things I think Harwood could have done a little bit better on. First off, the latching mechanism. This is one of those where it looks like somebody didn't even bother to install the hood on an existing car and check your dimensions for the hood latch. I had to modify mine considerably. All my modifications involved making changes in the latch mechanism itself. I didn't make any changes whatsoever in the hood. There are basically 2 points that determine how the hood latches. The first is the one I'm indicating here. To make this portion work, I had to install about a 3/8 of an inch spacer underneath the latch to raise it up. The rear bolts on the back stayed as is. This meant a new bolt in this position. This is not the stock bolt. While you're working on the latch, make absolutely sure that you go in and thoroughly clean and grease the latching mechanism to make sure it works smoothly. What these two slots and bolts do is set the angle at which the latch locks in. It's very, very critical that you get this correct. As far as making these changes, plan on spending about a half a day to make the latch mechanism work smoothly. By the way, whatever you do, don't try to force the hood closed with the latch in the stock location. You'll find out that it's extremely difficult to release the latch, since the top of the latch on the safety mechanism is what's caught. Well, now we come to the one that I think really kind of bummed me out. I mean, I bought a hood for hood clearance and had to wind up clearancing the hood to clear the intake manifold. I mean, guys, really? The hood has a nice graceful arc underneath it. It makes it very, very sturdy, but I think they could have run it straight across and cut the front curve out and given sufficient clearance, and that would have not made any of this modification necessary. Just my opinion anyway. Now what you need to do this is go ahead and get you some Play-Doh, as I've done here. You put it on the intake manifold, build up kind of a little mountain out of it, and then open and close the hood and see what hits. Then you make the necessary trim, move on down the manifold and do it again. As you can see here on the manifold are several dark spots, and actually I had to do a little bit more trimming on the hood beyond what you see here to eliminate those spots where it was touching. Now this definitely took a lot of time. It was better part of a day making trims and opening and closing the hood, checking your clearances, and then doing it again. Definitely got to wear a full face shield and a dust mask to avoid all the fiberglass dust. And now for the final mod to make the hood work. I had to bend the throttle bracket down slightly. Actually, it wasn't so much the actual bracket was hitting as the cable was going up so high that the hood was tending to crush it and bend it out of position underneath the hood. To be sure, the bracket did hit, and I cut the back of the bracket off, and that cleared that, but it still left the cable up much too high, so I had to bend the bracket down. Otherwise, I'd have probably wore the cable out fairly quickly with the angle it was pinching underneath the hood. And now for the final question I know many of you are asking. If I had to do it over again, would I bought the same hood? Hard to say because I don't have another standard of comparison to compare it against, but all I can really say is I'm very, very happy the way it turned out. Well, that wraps this one up. Hope you found it interesting and useful. If you did, give me a like and consider subscribing. I probably got some more things coming along here real soon you're going to want to see. Still haven't finished with Mustang, so definitely going to be more things there. Take care, y'all. Have a great day.